Cool. Looks like we are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Narrative Chase channel. I'm your boy, Narrative Chase. Uh, Welcome back to another episode of the Streamline Podcast. This is episode 95. If I got the numbers right, part of season two, which apparently we're in the season two now. I think we made season two around episode 50. But, anyways, sorry, it's been kind of chaotic. I've been working and everything. It's pretty long hours, so haven't been able to upload stuff. And I've joined the website. I have been able to upload more there. But for those who don't know, also, we initially did have one channel, but we decided that we're going to switch things up. We're going to have a music channel, Narrative Chase Music. We're going to have a podcast channel, which is the Narrative Chase Podcast. And then we have the regular Narrative Chase Studios for more reviews, top tens, more diversified stuff that we do feature. So if you haven't subscribed to the other two channels, we got three channels in total: Narrative Chase Music, Narrative Chase Studios, and Narrative Chase Podcast. If for some reason we didn't upload on one channel, we're definitely going to be uploading on another channel. So to always get the best. And we're going to try to make this podcast, weekly podcast. And I'm going to try to be able to get other people to join in, bring back Breaking the Baits, because I really did enjoy Breaking the Baits. And I know a lot of people enjoy Breaking the Baits. So just bear with us, guys. We're getting this thing together. Like I said, there's a lot that we want to do. But before we get into the topic of today, which is the cancellation of Batwoman. Yes, CW's uh, just BS version of Batman that they just completely just messed up. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and just kick it on over to what we do best, and that's this. Always love that. It's one of the best investments that I've had. So without further ado, before that, let's go ahead and just say, guys, be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and the notification button to get the best of what we do have on this channel. So we're getting back into the game, upload more videos. But having said that, let's go ahead and jump into the topic. The topic is Batwoman and the fact that it got canceled, which it should have been canceled a long ass fucking time ago. For those who don't know, Batwoman is a superhero show that was featured as an offshoot of the show Arrow, creating the Arrowverse. A lot of it has to do with it being somewhat of a parallel world to Arrow, especially during the Infinite Crisis, where all of these different shows actually came together as one thing. For a better storyline, actually go read the comics. It's told much better and it makes more sense in the comics. But Batwoman is Kate Kane, who is Bruce Wayne's cousin, who ends up adopting the mantle of Batwoman. Now, in the comics, Batwoman has been the name of several different women, several different time periods and eras of the comic book world. But the more modernized one that we know of now is this version, Kate Kane, who is Bruce Wayne's cousin. Now, in this video, I'm going to break down some of the reasons why the show actually lost its viewership, which led to the cancellation. Also, I have a couple of ideas on how the show could have been actually better, and hopefully the upcoming Gotham Knights, if it hasn't been canceled or canned yet, how it could actually benefit from some of these ideas that I'm going to throw out. Now, if you hadn't waited to listen to all of this, you should. It's actually some pretty good and well thought out ideas that I have. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, what was so bad about Batwoman? A number of things, actually. One, but the most overarching thing, actually had two problems that really just completely trashed it. Low budget and no quality. I think a lot of people can't forgive if the story is good, if the acting is good, if the writing is good. Unfortunately, the writing is probably some of the worst writing I've ever seen in any television show. And I've seen some pretty bad ones too. But damn, the writing is actually pretty bad. And it actually makes me wonder, how in the hell did the people that actually came up with this, who wrote this show, how were they not fired? How were they not and I get CW has some pretty. This is kind of like formulaic form in a lot of sense. There are a lot of shows that they do have feature that same type of writing, but I think it definitely suffers now because of what's been going on with the whole woke culture, which is another part two, if not part one itself. The woke ideology that is written into the series is just garbage. It's terrible. It's like cancer for your eyes. It's eating away everything that could be potentially good in life. It's literally one of the worst things to ever been introduced in this show. And like I said, the writing is already bad as it is, but to add all this woke stuff, just definitely just tips the whole house over the edge of the cliff. Just causes it just barreling down before it just inevitably explodes when it hit the ground. But there's a lot of other things, but those are the two main ones. Batwoman, it's herself as a character leading. Just honestly, the problem with the Batwoman version in this character is she feels like a knockoff version of Bruce Wayne. She has absolutely no motivation to do what she's doing. And I'm one of the guys that's like, look, I like Batman. I'm one of the guys that's like, your parents got killed by a criminal. There's literally millions of other people, hundreds of thousands of other people that same thing happened to them. They didn't turn into crime fighters. You know, you got a couple that did try to go vigilante, but not in the same scale as him. But I'm like, at least he has somewhat of a motivation for that. But in essence, this character just feels pretty much like a knockoff of the Bruce Wayne character. Even in the introduction of the character, she's doing this thing which is running around the world, training in these different art forms and just doing these hardship stuff. And I'm like, that's the same shit Bruce Wayne did, which led him to help develop his persona as Batman. And she's doing the exact same thing. So I believe that's another issue that a lot of people have. If she was more unique a character, maybe. I don't follow the characters in the comics personally, so I don't know what she's like overall in that sense. I've seen some things, and to some extent, some of the stuff that I've seen makes it kind of an interesting character. I was more interested in the character in the Batman Bad Blood film than anything, and I would think that character in that one was actually more interesting than in this show. But unfortunately, again, Kate Kane does feel pretty much like a knockoff or a female version of Batman, and that's just going to say, have you guys seen Supergirl? If you watch Supergirl, Supergirl feels that same way. She feels like a knockout version of Superman. She seems like she's copied almost a lot of his ideology, the way he moves in the world, even like the way the character actually perceives justice and morality and stuff, exactly like Superman. There's no differences in it. She even goes to go work at a metropolis like area. She actually works in the newspaper place too, or magazine place. So it's just too much like a carbon copy of the character. It's like if you look at the difference between the Hulk and She-Hulk. She-Hulk is her own individual character. Yes, she's a female version of the Hulk, but she's actually got smarts. She actually is skilled. She's a really good lawyer. She's actually got really good charisma. She's actually a really interesting character, and is a complete opposite of what you know Bruce Banner is. And I like those two differences, and that's one of the biggest problems I have with the Batwoman. Even hell, even if you look at Batgirl even has her own identity compared to Batwoman, at least in this series. But that's one of the biggest problems that I can say they're just throwing out there. It's like, okay, if you're going to make a show about Batwoman in this world that is of Batman, which kind of gets, I don't really like, and this is a problem Marvel has along with DC. I do not like, I'm not going to say I don't like it. I'll say that I have a limited tolerance. Well, I don't know. I like multiverses, but I think a lot of what they do with DC and Marvel is too much of, it's too many, it's basically clones. Each universe is basically clones. And to some extent it's cool, and to some extent it's kind of hurtful. And in a way the Arrowverse is kind of built up, and how they did the Infinite Crisis thing was very cringy. But anyways, as I was saying, now this is the reason why the show has been canceled. Now, if you haven't seen the first season is probably the best, even though that's not saying much because all of the seasons are garbage. And even then, had about a million, actually about a million, had a decent viewership, but it started snowballing, and then by season two, everything just started. It was like less than a million, and it just continuously fell. I think the numbers last I checked was what right when the series ended, it was like less than four. It was like around 400,000. I'm like 400,000. That's pretty bad. 400,000 is like a city. You know, like so basically one city watched that show, depending on where you're at in the United States. That's pretty bad. I mean, you can say a million ain't a lot, but I'm like a million. Yeah, that's a lot of people. That's a couple of cities, basically. Yeah, you can say it's a couple of cities. Yeah, you can say it's a big city if you want to go there, but just literally one city of people worth of people just actually watching the show. So that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. But and the thing about it is, I don't necessarily think the idea of the character itself is pretty bad, but it's pretty much everything else that goes on in this series. And honestly, I don't see why the hell they even got three seasons. That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. How such Birds of Prey only got one season, and that was a shitty ass show. If you look at Painkiller Jane, one season. I think Black Scorpion had one freaking season, and it was pretty bad too. But Black Scorpion, to be fair, was kind of in that cheesy era where we started transitioning from Xena the Warrior Princess, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Charmed, into more serious stuff. So it was still cheesy, villain of the week type stuff. Entertaining, but still cheesy. Still pretty bad too. But it was decent. It was decent. It wasn't really bad. But anyways, uh, but Batwoman, the thing about it is a perfect example of why woke culture should not be introduced into comics and it shouldn't be introduced into television at all because it focuses so much on its message instead of actively having a good story, good ideas, good performances, good characters, just on point writing. They had so much material for this show that it's just plain criminal that they did not utilize almost any of it. Now, whether that was because budgetary restraints, or if that was because they couldn't get the license to use some of these characters, if there was just a number of things that could go wrong, because a lot of stuff when it comes to making television shows, a lot of stuff can go wrong, especially with these comic book IPs and these franchises. You have to have licenses. You got to kind of have shell out some money, you know. And the CW does decent enough, but now I don't think they'll have they don't have that kind of backing for Batwoman, or perhaps it wasn't just the fact that they didn't have the backing for Batwoman specifically. Because think about it, you got shows like The Flash has a decent budget behind it, especially you see people running super speed, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. You know, majority of these other franchise series on this list actually the budget seemed a bit higher. So maybe it was just the idea of Batwoman itself that just didn't seem like it just didn't get the full budget behind it that it could have. And, you know, and nobody can tell me that they can't make good superhero shows because Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, the second season of Iron Fist, The Defenders, The Tick, The Boys. Like there's just like so many really really good fucking Smallville. Like there's a Titans. There are a lot of great live action television shows, and even though some of those don't have like big episode wise, don't have budgets like that, but it still is entertaining with entertaining characters. And even though sometimes they might touch on certain things, it isn't overwhelming. It's just a part of the story, part of the character, part of the show, and it's going. It ain't taking over everything. But anyways, like I was saying, this is an example why woke culture shouldn't be introducing these type of things because now the entire premise of the show is woke shit. Kate Kane, who was played by Ruby Rose, and I'm sorry, Ruby Rose is cute when she's dressed in her femininity. She is really cute. She's pretty when I was like, man, she looked like a dude. I was like, man, she's not attractive. Then I seen her put on a dress and she went on some talk show, and I was like, man, she is gorgeous in that dress. And even when I seen her in John Wick 2, she was cute. Everything else, I'm like, no. But aside from that, my thing with Ruby Rose is she's not really a wide. She doesn't have range as an actress, and it definitely shows in this series. It definitely shows the entire time you're watching it. It feels like you're just watching a woman try to be a tomboy. That's pretty much her shtick. If you look at all of the movies that she's ever been in, most of the movies she's just a tomboy, essentially, or a butch, or whatever you want to call it. But anyways, she didn't really do too much to she wasn't she's not talented enough to make Kate Kane an interesting person through her performance, because you can have a poorly written character but still have a good performance. She doesn't deliver on the character. There's sometimes you see some kind of cracks in the armor, but they're so minuscule and small, it's you need like a magnifying glass. There was certain scenes of, okay, maybe she gonna get it, she's gonna get it. She doesn't. She misses it completely. So I was like, also, most of the other performances are just bland. So really, it's the woke aspect and the terrible writing that made this a really, really bad show. And I guess you could say low budget too. And I know COVID happened and everything, but you know what I mean. And that affected a lot of shows, and you can see it in this show. So the budgetary, that there's a lot of problems that went behind this, and of course she ended up leaving, and then Jerissa Leslie came in, and then it started what started as a superhero who's gay and acts like a victim because she's gay and a woman, changed to a superhero that's gay and a woman who's a victim and is black. So this anyway. Look, I came up with 10 things that could have made this show better. 10 things that would have made Batwoman a much better show, a much better viewing experience, and something that could have just completely just made a really good character, interesting character, a potentially interesting character, just stand out among the stars. One, in the show, Kate is Batwoman. The initial villain of the first series is Alice, who you find out was Kate's missing sister. Unfortunately, the writers thought it was a genius idea to create all types of unnecessary bullshit as contrived drama by letting us know in the first episode, so that way the entire series is the bad sister trying to convince the good sister to be bad, and then the good sister trying to convince the bad sister to be good. So that probably could have worked with better writing. That's not what we got in this show. So to make this a bit more interesting, and the drama actually feel much more accepted, they could have just said, okay, Alice revealed it after the fact, at the end of the season. That could have led to some dramatic, epic season finale. Maybe she was holding her from falling off the side of a building. She said, I'm your sister. And then showed all of these different clues and stuff that led to you being like, yes, that is her sister. And then she has to make the choice, save her or kill her. Or do the thing that they did at the end of that one movie with Keanu Reeves, where he pointed the gun at the dude, and then he couldn't shoot the dude because he got so close to him, because he was like the FBI or something, and they had these guys that were pulling off these heists and everything. And he got so close to him that he couldn't shoot the guy, so he shot up in the air. Had that scene, that would have made for a much more interesting finale or something like that. But the show messed that up. So what they should have did was kept Alice's identity secret. All right, number 2, Mary. I love the actress. I would hook up. her character, who initially starts off as a decent character. I actually liked her, felt sorry for her, saw and through everything that was going on. She had an interesting story. But then as the series continues on with the third season, second season, and third season, things just get worse. One of the problems I had with her character wasn't the fact that she was a doctor or a doctorate and everything. Why she couldn't have been an original character? Well, I mean, she is an original character, but why couldn't she, or her character, just been an actual professional doctor? Why does she have to have an underground abortion clinic, as Tharias, uh, Ash Hill versus Babyface, all of them say, underground abortion clinic? It would have made more sense to actually have her be a part of the hospital treating woman, and how that those all those good close calls that could potentially happen for her to lose her job, her for potentially getting arrested for aiding and abetting. All of that could have been some interesting drama for her character. I mean, honestly, look at the show Charm. In the original show Charm, there was a police officer that named Daryl who often would put his a job at risk and his marriage at risk to help the charmed ones. Why couldn't that same thing be applied here to Mary's character? It would have given her something to do, actually had her live a decent life outside of just, being under the wing of her mom, being under the wing of Batwoman, being under the wing of her dad. So honestly, after the first season, her character's plot just goes to the fucking toilet. So another reason why I was like, Mary could have been an interesting character because of that, or at least did the thing that what's her name did on Daredevil, where she was like a nurse, or not. No, I think she got fired. She was like a fired nurse, so she knew how to help out and everything. She just didn't have access like that. I think that would have been even a more interesting story to go along with. So that's number two. Mary could have just been a better character. Um, Another thing that I wrote down in season two, they introduced a certain storyline on how cops become bad or the crows become bad. What I propose is season two, Black Mask, who has all of this power in the underworld. He just didn't infiltrate the crows and take over using the crows. Would have made sense, and plus it would have been nice to have possibly he's got the crows under his arm and the palm of his hand and everything. Why not let him utilize the crows to take out Batwoman? That would have been very interesting. And a dilemma that I can't remember that black chick, whatever the black chick name was that actually likes Kate. Can't remember her name. She's just an irrelevant character. Fine woman, but I didn't like the character. I can't remember her name now. But I think that would have been interesting. It should have been Black Mask using the crows to start taking over shit. It made more sense. And kind of put Batwoman on the ropes. You ever seen? Have y'all guys ever seen either the new Batman? I don't want to spoil anything, but there was something that happened, and the cops were hunting Batman, or Mask of the Phantasm, where you see this guy's killed. Batman ends up getting blamed for it, so the cops are after him. If they would have did that same thing, I mean, you see a bit of that in I think the first season, but not like a full scale thing on it. So I think that would have been cool for season two. Another interesting thing that probably could have helped the show out, more of the mainstream fucking characters. How are you in Gotham City? There is a Batman, and you can say they're doing the Infinite Earths thing. So could be just a Batman that never had any Robins, never knew Catwoman's, which would be bullshit because it's been told that Joker exists. So Harley probably exists. Alfred exists, but we never see him. They got the bat sitting on top of the building, and I think a lot of that had to do with Commissioner Gordon. So why is there no Commissioner Gordon? Where the fuck is Batgirl, Robin, any of them, Nightwing, any of them? And this is going for heroes and villains. We got Montoya in here? How the hell Montoya get into this, but not Bullock or Gordon or any really mainstream villains? Really, the only mainstream villain that you see, small snippet of the Joker, not worth even talking about. Hush, Poison Ivy, who the actress does a good job with the character, but unfortunately the character's shit because of the writing. That's pretty much it. You might get like two others, but Lucius Fox is mentioned consistently in here, and I don't care about his son in the slightest. But we'll get to him. But it would have definitely helped make Gotham feel like Gotham if they had more of the actual mainstream characters from the comics in it. Hell, Vicky Vale would have helped it out. The lady that they get to narrate the episodes is a fucking idiot. All right. So number 4. Number 5. Ryan Wilder. I don't have a problem with her character. I wouldn't mind a character that's been in the dumps all her life, finds some type of purpose and becomes a superhero. Now I'm not saying she should just don the suit or anything. Some intensive training, I'm for it. Hell, Arrow managed to train Roy and his sister. So well, now his sister actually was a part of the League of Shadows. But even then, Arrow showed through extreme training and all that stuff. You too can become a superhero, or at least a vigilante. Um, but if her character would have had that approach, you know, took that approach and didn't do the whole "I'm a victim" and the whole girlfriend thing and all that dumb shit, I would have been cool with the character. She could have been an original character. You know, it could have been a whole new character. It could have been Batman themed, but instead of her being Batwoman, she could have been somebody new, somebody interesting. Like I said, she's got kind of a good setup. The problem is just they went with the woke shit and it just fucked it up. And Batwoman was already pretty bad. The fact that she made it to Batwoman made it kind of worse. Now, Javicia Leslie, beautiful woman, beautiful woman. And I've seen more of her performance done better than Ruby Rose. No shade on Ruby Rose, but at the same time, it is what it is. But Javicia Leslie, she seems like a better actress. I've seen some really good sequences from her. Seen a lot of cheesy shit too, but again, that's with the right new direction. But Ryan Wilder could have been a good character. Could have been an interesting new member to the Bat family. Could have just been introduced in this and then introduced in the comics later, which I think a lot of good characters can be made that way. Just they're really good, interesting ideas on screen, then put them in the comics. I've seen a couple of characters that do that, but for some reason I can't think of them come to mind. But that's my thing with Ryan Wilder's character. She could have been somebody completely new. Coming in, number 6. I've already bitched about the fact that they didn't bring in any really of the mainstream characters. Big fucking L that they got for that one. Now, for the knockoff versions that they did put up in the show, something is wrong with these damn people. I tell you this. They got a knockoff version of Killer Croc. They got a knockoff version of fucking Hush. Hey, it could be the guy, but no. Because this dude literally points a gun at you and says, Hush. That's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. That's not what Hush does. He's supposed to be a straight up G. And he's one of the villains that put Batman against the ropes because how intelligent he is and manipulative as well. So just the knockoff versions, the Mad Hatter probably pissed me one of the ones that pissed me off the worst. The fake Bane that they put up in this. Yeah, they put Black Mask in it. The guy is charismatic. Again, it's just the writing is just fucking atrocious. I would have actually liked this series much more had they actually just came up with original characters. The Wonderland gang I would have thought would have been better, but there was one thing that I didn't like about it. It's called the Wonderland gang. Why the fuck wasn't the Mad Hatter not there? Why wasn't he the leader or something? I would think the Mad Hatter with Alice and the guy that got called Mouse, I think that would have made an interesting trio because the Mad Hatter uses technology to take over people's minds. Alice is a cold-blooded killer who's extremely intelligent and manipulative, and Mouse is able to change his voice. And with Alice's ability to put the little, manipulate people's faces and stuff to look like other people, and Mouse got the ability to change his voice, that would have made an interesting, very, very, very cool trio of villains. Unfortunately, they half-assed. I don't know if they couldn't buy the license for the Mad Hatter or something, or just what. But again, they could have had something really cool going on. Them putting Black Mask in, the Savala lady and the Ocean character, complete and utter nonsense. The fake ass shit that they put in for Mr. Freeze, just garbage. The fake Killer Croc, garbage. Fake Bang, garbage. Fake Joker, garbage. Just all of these knockouts that ain't nothing new. I kind of had the thing for the one chick that was like dressed up like a bird, that was a thief, but I was like, no, that's basically Catwoman. It's just across the board, all of these characters. There's not one. I mean, they put Victor Zsasz in it, and he's decent. He's probably next to Poison Ivy in decent portrayal. Just the writing around the characters, just garbage. Even Black Mask, he's decent. They're all three on that decent line. Everything else just straight up just garbage. So they could have introduced interesting new villains and not the villain of the week bullshit. They could have just had a villain pop up here and then he's gone for an episode and comes back. Just something. Just something. Just come up with some original villains, please. Now, number 7, the third season, I'm going to reference the storyline of the third season where seemingly this other corporation that pops up wants to take over Wayne Enterprise and Industries or whatever it's called. And I think if they would actually did some shady ass shit to do that, then it would have been actually a good ass season. Had just Jay the Jet character, just the evil bitch or whatever, just come over here, try to do the same thing what they did to Bruce Wayne in, was it The Dark Knight? No, Batman Begins, where they tried to rule him out so he can so they can take over his company. He did that shit. Did the same shit Bane did in The Dark Knight Rises. Fuck up his money. You know what I'm saying? Do some shady ass shit. I think that would have been actually pretty cool. So now they have to fight somebody that's, think about it. Season 1 could have been them fighting gangs. Season 2 could have been about an actual boss kingpin character. And then season 3 could have just been them having to deal with a corporate tycoon who's got money, power, and influence. It would have been just like watching the third season of Daredevil. Third season of Daredevil, they see Kingpin is on top of the world. They try to figure out how to take this fucker down. Could have been the same damn thing. Well, okay. That's my thoughts for 7. 8, Luke, again, has an interesting story, being the son of Lucius Fox, him dealing with his death. But the problem is that when the woke shit, he's basically gay, he's basically neuter, he's a punk. He always, just almost every aspect of this character is fucking stupid and useless. And it's just a crying shame. They could have just kept the character with some kind of brass, even developed the character. Hey, in season 1, he's shy and timid, but as he has these adventures with Batwoman and the crew and everything, he becomes a more capable character. He becomes more confident. No, he's pretty much a soy boy from season 1 all the way to season 3. And yes, he does get the Batwing suit, but unfortunately, he's so incompetent and so stupid, it's basically useless. And again, the writing. So absolute garbage when it comes to his character. Just do better writing. And I know I talked about this earlier. I said Kate Kane is a pretty bad character. Not only is she a knockoff of Bruce Wayne, but a lot of the decisions that she does make gets a lot of people killed. She's selfish. She's uncaring. She's spiteful. Those aspects that you typically see a villain do, which is kind of funny because Alice says they're the same, and then Kate does shit that makes her argument. You did something, you got a bunch of people killed, and it's not like you actually were sorry for doing it. you actually just do shit just to be spiteful. And again, what was it? You broke out Alice for what? You beat the shit out of a bunch of people. And I'm sorry, the whole thing of this woman, this 4-foot woman or whatever she is, fighting 6 foot tall people and beating them up doesn't make sense to me. But okay. And one of the and just to go ahead and jump down, to finish my point, Kate Kane should have just been a better character. She could have been much more individualized. She could have been much more likable. She could have did things that actually make it seem like she cared about Gotham. She actually doesn't. Most of the things that she does is just selfish. Hell, Javissa Leslie, a lot of the shit that she does is fucking selfish. So I guess that's just a trademark of the Batwoman character, to be fucking selfish, get people killed and not give a shit because it isn't doing you something. Fuck both of these women. Although Javicia Leslie, if given a chance, I would definitely take her out. She's quite beautiful and quite lovely. But let's go on to see 10. I don't understand why the fuck the cops weren't more involved in this series. I get, they have the crow, they put a budget into the crows and everything, but they could have split that to where it's like maybe 10 people in the room for the crows and probably about 10 people are the cops. So again, one of the problems of the series is why the fuck the cops ain't doing anything. How the crows got this much power when they shouldn't. A private security firm, yes, but that should only apply to certain people that can afford them. The cops, on the other hand, is for everybody in the damn city. So why in the fuck the cops aren't there? Why in the fuck people who want to get the Batwoman can get up on top of the fucking cop building, police building, and shine the Batwoman light? Even some of the worst fucking criminals are able to do this. So please explain to me why in the hell, you see what I mean? Why the hell the cops aren't involved much more in this? I don't know. I don't know. But there's other things too that came up. But like I said, most of the show's problem is the fact that they focus too much on the woke factor and the fact that the writing is fucking terrible. That's why the show is being canceled. I'm glad that it's being canceled. That it can make way for more better material out there in this world. CW's up for grabs. I'm sorry, fuck them, because they make bad content. Some shit that they do, every once in a while they put out something good. Smallville, on point. Arrow, the best of the Arrowverse. Just Supernatural, 15 seasons. Hey, you can't argue with that. And they got a couple of they got a couple of the diamonds in the rut, but again, that's why, because you have bad writing. That's yes, I spent 30 minutes telling y'all the reason why the show canceled, because all of these bad shit that I've been talking about. But it did have potential. If there is a way that somebody will redo this, go with those 10 things that I said. Some of these are critiques, some of these are actually good ideas. I will say this. I did like Alice, first season Alice. I didn't like really much anything else that they had going on with the character outside of that, because it was trying to do a redemption arc in a way that the redemption arc shouldn't be dealt. And that's basically saying you killed all these people, you did all these bad things, it's your fault. No, you want a true redemption arc. You did all of these things and it is your fault. Now, what the fuck are you going to do to make up for it? That's how you make a redemption arc. So she was probably the only character I really liked, at least for the first season. Mary, I liked for the first season. Everything else, she just went down. Montoya, she was decent. Then she went the woke route. Poison Ivy woke route. Just fuck it. I'm done talking about this. Guys, in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts about Batwoman. What do you think why you think it was canceled, and should they bring it back for a fourth season? Now, they come off with an interesting finale, I will say that, but it's not worth no fourth season. Now, Gotham Knights, I believe, is still still greenlit. So if it is Batwoman going to be in it? Because in it, Batman's gone, and now Nightwing and the rest of them got to step up. Which that wouldn't really make sense, because if they didn't step up in all 3 seasons of Batwoman, how the fuck is she gonna join them? So I'm just throwing shit at the wall right now at this point. Anyways, be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and the notification button to get the best of what's going on in the channel. And if there is anything that I did that I don't know, hey, feel free to leave me in the comment section below. All right. We'll definitely catch you guys later. Every weekend. Now I'll try to get up with y'all every week on this because I can't guarantee the weekends anymore. All right then. Yeah, we'll definitely catch you guys later.